Hello everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before, and happy 2024, happy new year. So last year I did a video just like this and I thought it was a great way to kick off the new year, and that is doing a reading vlog, reading the shortest books that I own. So this year I am reading 4 books from my TBR and I am so excited about all of them. So let me show you what they are. The first one is actually an arc that I cannot believe I have, and that is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. Now this is a thriller and just the tagline says this is a tale of murder, or maybe that's not quite true. At its heart it's a love story, isn't it? So I'm super intrigued, and of course when I start reading these I will tell you what they are about the more I know. But the next one is Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. This is also a horror, but I've heard this author is more like cozy horror. A lot of my friends have told me I'm going to love her books, so this will be the first one I try from her, so hopefully I do love it. Next I have a sequel, and that is The Godhead Complex by James Dashner. This is book 2 in the Maze Cutter series, which is like a continuation of the Maze Runner series. So last year I actually read the first book in this video and I gave it 2 stars. I didn't love it, but I also didn't hate it. But I am willing to read anything that James Dashner writes, especially within the Maze Runner world, and it is so short, so once again I am always intrigued with this world. And the last one I have is Little Eve by Catriona Ward. Now I believe this one is kind of like a culty book. This is another horror book. I've read one book from Catriona Ward before and it was okay. It was really interesting and kind of mind-boggling. So I'm assuming a lot of her books are like that, but this will be the one that I pick up for this video. So all 4 of these books are under 300 pages, and this is actually my last week off before school starts again for second semester. I am an English teacher, so I don't have as much time to read, but this week I have all the time in the world because I am not working. So I am planning on getting through all of these within the week. I'm assuming each one will take me like less than a day to read, so I'm excited. I'm not sure which one I'm going to start with first. I'm probably going to start with the shortest, and I don't know what that is yet, so let's check it out. So Little Eve has 265 pages. Okay, so let's see. The Godhead Complex. This one looks so short. I mean, the first one was really short too. But the Godhead Complex has 262 pages. Okay, so right now this is the shortest one. And then I think this one's going to be longer. Yes, this one has 289 pages for Black Sheep, and then The Fury I think has the most. It is just under 300 and it's at 297. So I will be starting out this video, and this will be my first read of the year, with The Godhead Complex by James Dashner. Hello, it is January 2nd and I just finished The Godhead Complex by James Dashner, and the reason why I didn't update you throughout this or like halfway through is 1, it's really short, but 2, I knew pretty immediately my thoughts were going to be pretty much the same throughout the entire book, so I didn't feel like I needed to repeat myself a whole lot. So let me tell you what I thought. So this is book 2 in the Maze Cutter series, and like I said, I read that one for this video last year and I gave it 2 stars. I just did not see the point of this new series, this new add-on to the Maze Runner world. So this book, I don't even know how to explain it. It is so confusing and fragmented. There's no cohesion at all, and so I'm going to try to explain it to you. But first and foremost, we follow a ton of characters, and I just don't understand why. But the main, like the heart of the story is that we follow these islanders. Now these islanders are the original descendants from the people that were in the Maze Runner series. So these are the descendants of like Thomas and Newt and Minho and all of those people that we knew and loved. And we actually do see Old Man Frypan. Now Frypan is from the original series, so I do like that we do have an original character because he's like the only one I care about because I know him from the Maze Runner. So we have the islanders, and then we also have the Remnant Nation. Now, the Remnant Nation seems like this kind of culty place where they take orphans, like children with no families, and they raise them and train them to be killers through torture. I don't understand why. But their main goal is to kill the Godhead. Now, those are other characters we follow. Now, the Godhead are these people who have taken some kind of cure and now they have these weird abilities, and I think they're basically like cranks on steroids. Now cranks, if you know from the original series, are the ones that have that disease, but they take this cure and they can read minds and stuff. Listen, I don't know. So it seems like the Godhead and the Remnant Nation are both like culty vibes. They both have like these followers and like these insane beliefs. So we follow those. We also follow somebody new in this book, and I don't understand why. And then we also go to another place, and there are just so many locations, there are so many characters, and everything, like I said, just feels so fragmented. So I am really eager to see everything come together, because you can slowly start seeing that, but it still feels so pointless. Like, why, James Dashner? What is the point of the series? I truly just don't understand, other than the fact that these covers are beautiful. Throughout some of the chapters, we do get pages from the Book of Newt, which I do enjoy those, because it's like hearing from Newt again, who is my favorite character. But other than that, this series is so pointless, so confusing, so like removed from the Maze Runner that I'm like, are we even in the same world? But I still give it 2 stars. And you know why? Because I'm still going to keep reading. I don't understand it. I am just sucked into the Maze Runner world, and I will read everything that comes out of it, even if I don't like it. So, first book of the year, 2 stars. I mean, I'm not surprised, because I didn't like the first one, so I figured that I probably wouldn't like this one, especially because they kept adding even more characters than we already followed. So yeah, 2 stars for that one. So the next book I pick up is going to be the one that I think I'm going to enjoy the most, because after having that first book, I want something that I can really enjoy. Now, I have the Catriona Ward book, and I'm not going to read that one yet, because I gave her other book that I read 3 stars, so I'm not sure how I'll feel. And same with Black Sheep. I've never read from Rachel Harrison, but from what I've heard about that book in particular, I don't know if I'll enjoy it. So that leaves one more book, and that is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. Now, I have given both of his books, The Silent Patient and The Maidens, 5 stars. So I'm hoping this one is also 5 stars, and then I will read the other books after this. This is also the longest book. It is just under 300 pages, but I read his other 2 books so fast, so I'm hoping I will also read this one really, really fast. And once again, I have no idea what it's about. I will just pick it up because of the author, but when I get into it, I will tell you what it's about, either at 100 pages or halfway. We'll see like how this goes, but I will see you when I see ya. Alright, so I'm 100 pages into The Fury, and I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. So let me tell you, let me set the scene. We are on a small Greek island with a bunch of kind of like actors and actresses and like celebrities. There's actually like 5 of them, not a whole bunch, but there's like a small little group that are there. And there's this actress named Lana, and she is kind of the central focus of this entire group. Everyone's obsessed with her. Now, I usually hate that trope when there's one person that everyone's obsessed with, but everyone's obsessed with her. She's a famous actress, and she has another friend there that's an actress, another guy there that I think he like writes plays or something, and then her husband and her son, and then there's some like side characters that are like the housekeepers and stuff. So they're all rich, they're at this island, somebody dies. That's literally the gist of the whole book, is they're a group on this island and somebody dies, and it says something about she's an ex-movie star, one of the most famous women in the world, and she invites her closest friends to escape for the weekend to a Greek island, and it ends in murder. And then the way that this is written is actually written by one of the characters, the guy Elliot, the one that's kind of a playwright, and I really like reading from his voice. It's really funny, really interesting, and it makes you feel like very familiar with the characters. It feels like you were almost there, or that you're reading like a first-hand account of something that actually happened. But I will say, all of these characters are kind of unbearable, and I have trouble enjoying stories if I don't like the characters. So we'll see where this is going, because 100 pages in, I'm intrigued, I'm interested, I'm reading it quickly because thankfully I love Alex Michaelides because he always has short chapters. But I don't like any of the characters right now, and so we'll see where this goes, where this ends up. But it also tells you, like at the beginning, this is not a whodunit story. This is like more of a why done it, and that's exactly what they say in here. So I'm curious to see what happens, because I don't know why, and I don't actually know who at this point. So we'll see where this goes. But yeah, right now I'm kind of hating everybody, and hopefully I start liking them more, so that way I can like be obsessed with this book like his other books. But we'll see where this goes, and I will update you probably tomorrow, because hopefully I will have finished it tomorrow. We will see. So I just finished The Fury by Alex Michaelides, and first and foremost, I will say this is my least favorite book of his so far, but I still enjoyed it and had a great time. My absolute favorite thing about this book was the way it was written. I think this was written in a completely different way than his other two books. It really broke the fourth wall a lot, and it truly felt like we were just sitting down with one of the characters, listening to him tell his story, which made it feel so much more immersive and like I was experiencing and going through a lot of these things that he was talking about. But I will say, the downfall of this book for me was the characters. I realized last year that I am definitely a character-driven reader. If I don't enjoy characters in a story, then I'm not going to really enjoy the book itself. Now, I will say, all of these characters were highly unlikable, but that was, I think, the entire point of the book. They were supposed to be unlikable, but still that definitely affected my enjoyment because I wasn't rooting for any one character in particular. I just kind of wanted the downfall of every single character, but I still had a great time reading it. I couldn't put it down. Alex Michaelides is the king of short chapters and he does it so well. I love the way he writes, and this book has just further solidified he's one of my favorite authors. Even though I'm giving this one 3 stars, I still will pick up anything he writes and truly enjoy it. I also love how he will take a certain trope in thrillers but also make it so unique. Like I said, they're on an island, there's a murder. That sounds very basic, but he makes his stories so unique and I really love it. So, second read, better than the first book in this vlog, and the next book I read, I'm actually going to pick up Little Eve. So, I am halfway through. I have 2 books left, Little Eve and Black Sheep, but this is the one I'm reaching towards right now, so I'm going to start this later today. Oh my gosh, and Alex Michaelides quoted something on this. He said, "This book will haunt you." Alright, Alex, let's see what you think. I have no idea how to explain this book to you. None. I've been trying to think about it for like a day since I started reading this, and I have no idea how to explain it. I'm 100 pages in, and I don't know what's happening. I am so close to, like, every so often I'm like, I'm gonna DNF it. I'm gonna put it down. And then something interesting will happening, and I keep reading. Like, I told myself at 50 pages I was gonna DNF. And now I'm at 100, and I don't know how I got here, and I don't know what's happening. How do I explain this? Okay, so we're in the early 1900s. There's 2 timelines. There's 1917 and 1921. And in 1921, that's when this book starts out. Something terrible has happened. Something horrible. We're in Scotland, and we're at an old castle. There is this, like, family. They're not a family. They're, like, cult members. They're in a cult. So there's this man. He's called the uncle. And then he has a bunch of children. And he has brainwashed them into believing something. And they, like, worship a snake. And he is, like, their leader. And so they're, like, starved. They're abused. Things like that. But at the opening in 1921, something terrible has happened at this castle. And then in 1917, we're following one of the children. And so I'm assuming the 1917 timeline is going to, like, connect to the 1921 to show us how we got to that point. But I truly have no idea what's going on. I don't think I like the writing. And I think that was my problem with Sundial as well, is I just don't like Katron Ward's writing. But like I said, every so often there is just one little piece of information that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And so I keep on reading. But this is such a slow read just because the writing feels like quicksand. Like I'm stuck and I'm trying to get through it and I can't. But yeah, I have no idea what's going on. So hopefully I can figure that out. But the tragic, horrible thing that happened, I like want to know what happened, how we got there, and what's going on. And just so many things. I have so many questions, and I have a fear I'm not going to get any answers. But, so that's my update. I'm 100 pages in, so hopefully I will finish this today. Tomorrow, I go back to work. I've had 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's, and tomorrow I go back to work. Sad days. I can't read all day anymore, but hopefully I finish this today, and then I'll have 1 more book to complete, and hopefully I'll be able to do that over this weekend, because it is Thursday currently. Tomorrow's Friday. That's how days of the week go. Welcome to school. But yeah, I guess I will update you probably when I have finished Little Eve, unless something crazy happens. Hi. I am kind of unwell, but yesterday I finished Little Eve and this just did not do it for me. I did not really care for it, did not really enjoy it, and I think my biggest hindrance was the writing. I did not care for the writing, and I just think Catriona Ward's writing is not for me, although I am going to keep trying all of her books because I get FOMO. So I want to read all of them. You would think that this plot would be really interesting to me because I love reading about cults, but again, the writing just did not do it for me, and the big reveal, shocking ending, I saw it coming a mile away, did not care. I'm usually not one of those people that cares if I guess the ending, but it just felt like it had been done before. In fact, because a few months ago I read something very similar to that. So at the end of the day, 2 stars, did not care for it, did not do anything for me. So moving on to the last book, our final hope, Black Sheep. So I started reading some of this today. I am on page like 26, so barely in. So I'll read some of that. Like I said, it is Friday. I had work today, so I will be reading this over the weekend and hopefully finishing. But because all of the books in this vlog so far have been duds, hopefully this is a winner for me and I actually like it. But for some reason, I don't have high hopes. However, in the past, every time I think I'm gonna dislike a book, I end up loving it. So maybe that'll happen here. We'll see. So, one last book to go. Fingers crossed it's a good one. So I'll probably update you tomorrow when I'm like halfway through that book. So I didn't update you yesterday because I did not feel like putting on makeup or doing my hair. I was not camera ready yesterday. But today I'm ready to wrap up this vlog because yesterday I finished Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison, and I have really complicated feelings about this book. So we follow this girl named Vesper, and what we know about Vesper is she has left her very religious family, but she receives an invitation in the mail to her cousin's wedding. So after 6 years, she decides to go back to her small farm where this cult is and see her family again, and she kind of gets immersed back into that world, even though she has always felt like the black sheep, like she didn't belong. So, my feelings, very complicated. This is about a cult, about a strict religion, and I was getting worried with, at first, the way they described it, but then as soon as I found out what the religion was about, I was like, oh, I literally gasped. I was like, oh, did not see that one coming, because the way that she was describing it at the beginning and how she was describing her family, I just did not see that one coming. So, I will say, Vesper is strongly against her cult, for good reasons. I agree with her on that, but because of her religious upbringing, some of the comments she makes about religion in general rub me the wrong way, and I don't like how she talked about religion in this book, because that is something that's really personal to me, and I just don't like how she talked about it, and I also did not really care for Vesper as a character. I will say I do like Rachel Harrison's writing. I just don't think this was a good book for me to start out with her. I will be reading her other books because I feel like I'll enjoy them more, just because this subject matter got a little touchy at points, but it was interesting. It was kind of comical and fun at the end. This is definitely described as cozy horror, and I can see that because it doesn't always take itself too seriously, but I will be giving it 3 stars just because it wasn't the book for me, and I can see that, but I could also see how it would work for other people, but I am looking forward to reading her other books. So, wrapping up this vlog, I have finished all 4 books that I was planning to read, and perfect timing because tomorrow I go back to work with kids and I am teaching again, so it's nice to have this start at the new year where I have these books off my TBR, and I've already acquired kind of a stack of books that I've read this year. So if you've made it this far in the video, obviously you know what I've read, but let's wrap up real quick. We have The Godhead Complex by James Dashner. I gave that one 2 stars. And then The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I gave this one 3 stars. Little Eve by Catriona Ward. I think I gave this one 2 stars. I'm already forgetting these books because, as you can tell, I did not have a great time with most of them. And then Black Sheep is 3 stars. So, not a great start to the year quality-wise. I'm really eager to read my first 5-star or even 4-star of the year, so hopefully that happens soon. We will see, especially in my wrap-up at the end of the month. I'm kind of scared that my rating for 2024 is already going to be down the drain because of these books, but let me know what you thought of these books, and if you have read any of them or if you want to, or which Rachel Harrison I should read next, because I really do want to read more from her. But if you have made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave the sheep emoji. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!